What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday. We got another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for the day of August 15th, 2020. So I want to thank everyone for joining me on what seems to be a lot of people's favorite episode that I do on my channel week in, week out. And I want to thank you guys for embracing this video as we go and explore some of the coins that have hit the open market that are undeniable change or roll finds out there that you can make a few bucks on. All right, I think I could speak for a lot of people and just say that the opportunity is there. This is a very fun and exciting hobby, especially right now when the whole market is continuously catching fire upon fire upon fire. This numismatics market is just firing on all cylinders, and there is no better time to be a coin collector or just a treasure hunter than it is today. So we're going to take a look at some of the most notable sales from the last 24 to 48 hours. And these are all coins that are going to be raw, which means they're not graded or authenticated of any kind. People want to have the idea that they could go and find these coins, turn around, list it on eBay, list it on Instagram or Facebook, and try and monetize off of it. Okay, you got to know what you're looking for because there's a lot of pretenders out there, but the real deal coins, they're also out there too. But it seems to me that, there's going to be a lot of people trying to make something out of nothing. All right, so this episode that I do week in, week out is going to be more of a kind of call to action to a lot of people that aren't completely familiar with some of the errors and varieties that can be found out there today. So hopefully this will help out. So again, all of the images on the Pocket Change Market Report are raw images provided by the eBay sellers in their listings. All right, so all the credit in the world to the original owners of the images on these eBay listings. And also, in addition, it's going to be some pretty good press for you guys as well. But there's a lot of great stuff on here. And again, the market is just on fire. If you have the ability to sell some of these finds, if you're not into really kind of like hoarding and collecting these things, I'm kind of different because I like that sort of thing. People just want to find the coins and then sell them and then put it back into finding more. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that the market is healthy. So anyways, we have an abbreviated list here. We got 20 coins, and we are going to start out with this 1974D Kennedy half dollar. Again, this is one of my favorite coins to find out there. If you're an avid half dollar roll hunter, of course, people look through half dollars for the silver. Silver is like all over the place. It's trending up. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. So also keep in mind that there are other finds that you could take advantage of to help supplement the silver in half dollars. Okay, that's what all the rage is about today. So this one right here is going to be the notable DDO or FS101 double the die offers variety. The seller provided arrows on the close-up of trust in the motto just kind of, speaks volumes. Just look how incredible the spread is. This is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, double the die. And the good news is, it's not particularly rare. These can be found quite often. Again, it's the 1974D. It's a Denver minted coin, which is good news for a lot of you folks that reside on the West Coast. This is just something neat you can find. Now, here's the crazy part about this coin. All right, these were available for around $15-20 for the longest time. The market had stagnated on the 74D FS101. This particular coin that you see here sold for $49 shipped here in the last 24 hours. So if that's any indication of how incredibly popular these coins are today, and how hot the market is, man, well, why not try and look for these? If you think about the $50 or so that went to purchase this coin, okay, that's equivalent to what, 7 or 8 silver halves. Okay, that's a pretty good feeling when you're able to flip that in that kind of fashion and make all the profit in the world. So that's a pretty cool coin. Keep an eye out for this one, you roll hunters. There's a lot to find, and make sure when you're roll hunting or chain searching or whatever your flavor is, make sure you have the tools of the trade. The number one best, most important tool that I tell all new hunters and coin collectors to go after is a quality magnifier, something 8 to 10 times power if you guys need it. I have these Amazon links below the video. Just go ahead and expand out the description box where it says show more, and then go ahead and take a look at some of the supplies. Okay, they're all pretty affordable unless you wanted to get like a digital microscope. Those could be kind of expensive and useful. But, you know, if you're just starting out, I would probably forego the magnifier or the digital microscope and go for a really nice, inexpensive 8 to 10 times power magnifying glass. We have those available in the links below. So we got this one here. The next one right here, it doesn't look like much. It's a 1989D Lincoln Memorial set. But on the reverse of this coin, there's a pretty neat looking anomaly. And what you see here, according to the original listing, okay, it was notated as being a die crack that went from the rim through the Lincoln Memorial and then back around through the T. Now, what is interesting based off of these images, it doesn't look like a crack at all. As a matter of fact, it looks more like a strike through. However, the strike through doesn't go through the memorial. Usually when you have a strike through, whether it's like a piece of string or maybe a wire from a wire brush, usually that'll overlap. But this is just kind of like one of those very interesting, very neat pieces. And God, lots of kudos to the finder of this coin. This is a great find right here. So this one definitely caught the eye of a few of the error specialists out in the market today. This one sold for $54.20. Kind of hard to believe, considering it's a copper-coated zinc Lincoln set. You know, if it was anything else, it probably wouldn't even sell that much. There's only a few other select coins that sell for way more than what this one is. But it's just a really neat error anomaly. Okay, and it remains to be seen exactly what it is. It's either a die crack, I would need to see it in hand, of course, or it's a strike through that simply did not pass over the base of the monument, which is strange. This is strange to me. But someone ponied up some real cash for this one. It would be interesting to see if we hear anything about it. All right, so I have a soft spot for paper currency. Okay, it's one of my favorite things to collect. This is an absolute beautiful error. If you don't know what this is, it is a back to front wet ink offset transfer. Okay, that seems like a mouthful, but you know, some would say, oh, it's a offset error. Okay, which is also the same as well. Or wet ink transfer. That's also acceptable as well. But what we have here is a 1974 $20 Federal Reserve note. What is most appealing about this is you have a full 100% transfer of the reverse image to the front. Okay, so this is what we would call in the hobby a complete 100% transfer. There are some that are less than that, you know, 50%, 20%, 75%. But because this is a full 100% offset, okay, it commands all the money in the world. Now the reverse, completely normal on this one. All right, this is where you have the sheets as they're being printed, and they are being stacked on top of each other. The ink is still a little bit wet. All right, so you're going to get some of that transfer onto the bottom sheet in that stack. So this one right here sold for $283. Very rarely do you see these notes ungraded, although this one is in spectacular shape, so that's also something to take into consideration. And the next coin that we have here, all right, is basic old Roosevelt Dime, right? Or is it? Huh. It's a 1988p. It's a Philadelphia struck Roosevelt Dime that, as you can see, exhibits a pretty nice rim clip right here. You also have a little bit of a misaligned die. But on these clips, okay, it doesn't matter how minor, they are beginning to kind of like gain a little bit more notice on the secondary market. This one right here sold for $23.50, although a best offer option was used, so it sold a little bit less than that. With any clip, you want to make sure it's got the Blakesley effect, so the opposite edge of the coin of where the clip is, you're going to see some kind of weird flattening right here. Okay, and that's how you know you have a genuine clip. Some people have attempted to counterfeit these for, you know, their own personal gain. Now, in this case, you know, this is a real deal. It's legit. With the misaligned die, you also have a little bit of the railroading over here on the edge. So you have kind of like a half regular edge where you have the reeds, and then you have just this this raised gob of metal, which looks like a railroad track, and that's why they call it you know, the railroad rim. But this is a really cool coin, $23.50. That's a good deal of money for something like this. Okay, so I am a sucker for really nice off-center coins that exhibit a full date. Now, this is a copper-coated zinc Lincoln Memorial. It's a 1984. This one is about 45–50% off-center. Okay, it's a very appealing off-center coin. These are always popular. A lot of people are date collecting these things. Any off-center coin with a full date and mint mark is going to be top of the market, desirable. So keep that in mind if you are going to collect these or sell them. Now this one right here sold for a best offer somewhere south of $29.99. That was the original asking price, but this seller did accept some sort of offer, and there you go. Pretty neat. I like this one. Okay, so we got a 2001 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one looks a little bit funny. It's a larger coin. It's stretched out. These are called broad struck coins. Okay, so the coins were struck with the absence of a collar. The collar holds the coin, you know, the blank, into the striking chamber. All right, but if there's no collar, maybe it's, you know, stuck or partially tilted or whatever the case may be, the metal has to flow somewhere. So if there is no collar that's seated up onto the planchet as it's being struck, you're going to get all this extra kind of like stretched out metal coming out of the sides. It's like punching down on some fresh dough. Okay, when you punch it down on the counter, it's going to splat on the side. I guess that's the best analogy I could, you know, use for that. This is a 2001 Philadelphia. It sold for a best offer of $48.50. And the seller even had a comparison of this Lincoln cent error to a regular nickel. Okay, they are close to the same size. It's incredible how big these things get. Okay, and this is also referred to as a centered broad strike. There's off-centered broad strikes too, but this one's perfectly centered on the planchet. Okay, so this is a pretty phenomenal coin, always worth the money on the secondary market, and it's always an exciting find. Now, this is one of my favorite errors to look for. Okay, as you guys know, the machines that it takes to strike the coins, they exhibit a lot of wear and tear. They break down over time, especially when they're, you know, when they've struck 100, 200,000 coins. Okay, the dies are part of that process too. So the dies will crack, they'll stress, you know, pieces will fall off, which is what you see here. This is actually referred to as a Cud Die Break. This is an unknown date Lincoln cent. It is a bronze. Okay, so it is pre-1982. I would say it's probably maybe 1970s somewhere. But this one right here, you had a big chunk of the die fall off. And that's what you're seeing here when it's being struck. It's translated into a big gobby void. In this case, it covered the entire date. Now, how you're going to know that this is a legitimate cut error is you also look on the reverse. The same exact corresponding or opposite side of the coin where the cut is going to be completely soft or missing. All right, so this corresponds very well with the actual cud, and that's what you're going to look for as being a genuine kind of diagnostical feature for this error. Now, this one right here sold for $117.51. Absolutely. These are hot off the presses, and anytime you can find one, you're talking real money. I traditionally, even the smallest of cuts, I usually don't see them sell for under 20 bucks. Okay, but this is a right good sized piece right here on this undated Lincoln cent. Really nice coin. Okay, so here's an error that would be generally passed up by a lot of people. Okay, I'm talking about 99% of the people who don't normally look at their coins. Yes, Lincoln does kind of have a weird, funny looking ear right here. But anyways, that's not what we're looking for. This is a 1972D Lincoln Memorial that has a pretty sizable strike through on the reverse, so it could probably be a nice gob of grease that was on the die before this coin was struck. Even the A in states was missing, and a lot of E pluribus unum is also obliterated on this coin as well. This one right here, as minor as it is, and all that great stuff, sold for $4.90. It doesn't seem like a lot, but we're talking about a 1 cent coin. Okay, not in the greatest of shapes, and it's 490 times face value. Let that sink in. That's a pretty good return on a Lincoln cent. They do get better, but this one would be a coin again that would be generally missed by a lot of other eagle-eyed collectors and searchers. All right, back to currency, and we have a neat one here. This is a 1985 series $20 Federal Reserve note. Okay, so yeah, it is an older note, small head size is what they call this. But as you can see, it's got some weird folding error on the top left portion of the note. On the reverse, this is what it looks like. And then if we come up closer, you actually unfold that area, you get something like this. So when these notes were being cut out of their subject sheets, okay, there was just a little bit of a fold in there as these were being cut. All right, so what they call this is a butterfly fold. Some of you have probably seen this before. But this one sold for $189.20. Now, a butterfly fold can be found on the newer pieces of currency. Some a little bit smaller, some bigger, Generally, your best bet to find a fresh, crispy, uncirculated example is going to be right directly out of a BEP pack. So let's say you go to the bank and you want to order some currency, but you want the new stuff. Just say, yeah, I want to order $2,000 in once. Okay, and your best bet is that type of error can be found in something like that. Pretty neat find. Okay, so I had done a video not too long ago on what to find on your dollar bills. I actually went through $500 in cash the other day on video. And one of the things I talked about was fancy serial numbers. Okay, that's like one of the easiest identifiable, interesting, and sometimes quite valuable notes to find. This particular example is a brand new note. Looks like a 2013. As you can see, the serial number is a low serial number. Okay, it's only got 3 digits, 552. Okay, this is a significant find. Something like this is valuable. The lower the number, the more it sells for. Now, this is 552, but it did sell for $39.95, proving once again that if you're able to find a full strap of consecutive notes that are all low serial number like this, worth a lot of money. If you're able to find a low serial number star note, worth way more money. We're talking maybe $100, $150 in the same condition that you see here. But keep in mind, there's always something neat to find in all facets of not only paper currency, but also your coins. All right, so this is something simple. This is a really neat, easy find. Okay, these aren't particularly rare, but what we have here is an older style Washington quarter. This is going to be one of those heraldic eagle backs. This one is missing a couple digits in the date. Okay, and based off of how it looks like here, what we have here is another struck through coin. So there was probably a gob of hardened grease with debris in there that had fallen or that was on the die before this thing was struck. But as you can see, it's going to completely destroy whatever traces of the actual 2 digits of the date will show. This one right here sold for something, $22.99. I'm telling you, that's not bad. That's 92 times face value. Okay, that's pretty incredible for something that generally would be passed up or would appear like damage. Okay, because let's be honest, this can pass off as damage if you don't know what you're looking for. All right, so not a lot of people really think about searching through their proof sets for errors. But I'm telling you, the U.S. Mint makes tons of mistakes, even 50 years ago. This particular proof set here is a 1961. It's a common date proof set that's available for under $25. However, this particular proof set has 2 nickels in the nickel slot here. And then some people will say, well, it should be pretty easy to just open the cellophane and add another nickel. No, it's not. Because once you damage and destroy the crimping, because it is a unique pattern of crimping on here, you cannot fix it. You cannot absolutely fix it. Even if you were a good counterfeiter of actually repairing the cellophane plastic of these blisters for the mint and proof sets. Okay? It just cannot be done. This one right here, again, it's an acquired taste. There's very few people that do collect packaging errors from the mint, but this is a great example here. Now, this one sold for $115.95. Okay, whether or not that's a viable number for the market remains to be seen. But there are people that do collect these. It's a very small, dedicated cult following. But yes, I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that things like this happen. Okay, case in point with my next listing here, and it's going to be another proof set, also 1961, but in this case, there were 2 1961 proof Lincoln cents that were packaged in this set. What's missing? Well, the nickel, ironically, because the nickel before it had 2. But this one right here has 2 Lincoln cents, okay, which happens. I've seen these before. This one right here sold for somewhere south of $300. The best offer was accepted. But yeah, it's a pretty neat packaging error. Some debate whether or not these are actual mint errors because they weren't involved in the striking process, but packaging errors, I firmly believe, should be in some sort of conversation of some sort of mint error. Okay, pretty neat. Again, just be mindful that things like these do exist out there. All right, so check your newer coins. You just don't know what you're going to find. I've talked about this one before, but I'm going to go ahead and revisit it one more time. It's a 2018 Philadelphia Cumberland Island National Park quarter. Okay, if you look close enough on the wing, on the reverse of that bird, pretty nice sized die chip. Okay, these are neat. They are worth pulling out of your change. And there is even a little bit of a die chip here, but this big one right here is what really gets people talking. Now this one right here sold for $5. Okay, not bad. 20 times face. That's a nice little pocket of money. Again, these all add up. Okay, you sell a number of $5 to $10 coins. Once you know it, you'll have $200 in your PayPal account. All right, so it is definitely a meaningful find, no doubt. Okay, so this is something I threw up on here just to make you guys aware. If you have any of these mint bags of older coins, whether they're pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, straight from the mint, congratulations. These are kind of a gold mine right now. So this is a unspectacular date, 1974 Lincoln cents, $50 face in the original canvas bag. Okay, the seller did a fantastic job of adding all the appropriate images, close-ups of the seams and all that to let you know that this one is untampered. Okay, this one is 40 plus years old, and it shows it. And yeah, it's a fully sealed bag. Now, these are the type of bags that I tell people, if you're going to find some of the incredibly insane errors, usually they'll be in these bags, okay? Especially if they've passed through the QC inspections without, batting an eye at the mint. They will end up in these bags, okay? And least likely they'll end up in like bank rolls at the bank, because they get opened up at the bank. Generally, they'll be re-rolled for easier distribution. But if you're able to get your hands on some of these on the cheap, they're worth quite a bit of money. Now, this 1974 Philadelphia bag sold for $469.22, and this is a homegrown auction. Probably went through the 7-day auction format. I think there was about like 22 bidders or something like that. But yeah, that's what these things are worth. And then when you get into the more sought-after key dates because of varieties, like can you imagine a 69S sealed bag would probably sell for a few $1,000s because of the prospect of the double die obverse that people like to look for. So there are just a few different dates that are going to just command insane amounts of money. All right, but be mindful that even relatively uninspiring dates like the 74, where there's like no major varieties or things like that, still sell for a lot. Okay. Another favorite error of mine, this is what is called a gutter fold. Now, a gutter fold happens when the original subject sheet has a little bit of a paper wrinkle in it. So when the note is, or when the sheet rather is printed and the wrinkle hasn't been stretched out, okay, it'll actually print right over the wrinkle while it's still kind of like compressed together. And it's only after the drying process where you stretch out the paper and you get this really nice inkless gutter running up and down the note. Okay, this one even has a couple smaller ones right here. That's also worth mentioning. That goes right through the seal. But this one right here is a great error to find. This one sold for $43.01. Don't know where the 1 cent came from, but someone beat the other guy by a penny. Incredible. Nice note. And here's a look at the reverse. You don't have the void on the back. The paper was probably stretched out when the back was being printed. So this is an older coin, but still, if you could cherry pick something like this, I mean, that's fantastic. It's a 1945S Mercury Dime, not particularly rare at all in this condition, but on the obverse of the coin, there is a pretty nice strike through here, which it was probably maybe a wire from a brush. That's kind of what it looks like right there. It's relatively straight. If it was more of a string, it'd be kind of all curly-cued and knotted up on there. But this one right here, a really neat find, and for as minor as it looks, to some people it looks like a staple scratch, but that would trip up a lot of folks. But this one, alas, is not a staple mark. It is a true strike through. This one sold for $105, go figure, which is an incredible amount of money for a coin that is worth about 10, 15 bucks. All right, one of my favorite dates, 1960D. Is loaded with all sorts of possibilities. You have the 60D over D RPM with the double die obverse as well, the small over large date. But this one right here, this date, lots of varieties, lots of repunchment marks to look for, dozens of them. And that's why it is kind of like the undisputed king of modern memorial cents in terms of what you can find. This one right here is an RPM. As you can see, the D over D. The D has been punched twice into the working die. And yeah, pretty crazy offset on this one. This one sold for $26.75. So if you could imagine going through a brilliant uncirculated roll of these and finding like 3 or 4 of them in a roll, it's like $100. That's a pretty good amount of money. And again, 1960D. Large date. Make sure you guys remember to pull these aside so you can take a closer look at them later. Now here's just an honest looking, Lincoln Memorial cent. I wish I knew what the full date was. It looks like a 1993, but it's kind of hard to say. However, if you are observant enough to know what's going on with this coin, you will do really well. So on the obverse of this coin, the die probably had some grease. There you got some weakness, so you definitely have some strike through going on this example. It's not major by any stretch, but if you notice a digit missing from the date or some softness on Lincoln's portrait, then you got something right there. This one sold for $7.95. There you go. You're welcome. A coin in which that, again, would be passed up by 99% of the people that actually hold this thing. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with another phenomenal Cud Die Break. Now, this one was sold by Sullivan Numismatics, one of the premier retailers of error coins. If you haven't checked out John Sullivan's website, he is, by the way, one of the contributors to errorreference.com. So if you've never been on there, if you need to know what a certain error is, you can go on that website. It'll give you the entire explanation. All right, so he's one of the main contributors. Mr. Sullivan is one of the foremost experts in error coins. He sells on eBay quite frequently. This is a really exceptional cut. It's huge, and it encompasses the whole entire left side of the coin on the obverse. Most of the Liberty is missing, okay? In and the G in God is completely gone. And then on the reverse, you also have all that weakness, which is what you look for on coins like this. But this one sold for $113.61. If you have time, check out John's website, sullivannumismatics.com. And also check out his eBay store. He is fantastic and has lots of pretty incredible errors. Probably more errors that you and I have never seen in your life. He deals with some of the most major off-the-wall type stuff, kind of like the back market type of coins that you only begin to dream and imagine about. But he's your man. But anyways, there you go. A little Saturday afternoon fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are going through your coins or you're trying to score some silver, because it's very active. A lot of trading going on when it comes to PMs. But also keep in mind that there is a whole wealth of other things to look for, as you can see in this video. So I hate to put some extra kind of like items on your wish list or to look for lists, but I'm glad I did, because it's certainly a lot of fun when you come across these things and you just don't know what to do. You want to sell it, you want to keep it. You could do both for a lot of these things. That's what I like most about collecting coins. It is a lot of fun. It's very engaging. There's a lot of history involved with it. So I want to thank you guys again. Thank you for all the views and support. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for instant notification. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we are discovering together, Coinaholics. Have a wonderful weekend and relax. Stay cool, my friends.